Uh, Crazy day. How are you? Hello, and welcome to this week's Profit Maximizing Moment. This show is dedicated to helping business owners dramatically improve their bottom line with our weekly profit maximizing tips that you can use now. I'm your host and coach, Wayne Bilal. I'm also the founder of a local CPA firms? Nope, just one. Had enough work. That works with business owners to help them make more money and keep more of it from the IRS. I do that with our profit coaching programs, also these videos, and our blog. Make sure you check out our blog. Go to wjbcpa.com and click on the blog. Put your put yourself on the mailing list so you get updates when we update everything. And we use our tax planning system that saved my clients well over $7 million in the last 5 or 6 years. I've lost track. All legally. Love my clients. Don't want to share jails with them. Thank you very much. Today we're going to be talking about how product mix has a high impact on your profits, and what, truthfully, I spent some time on here with some good tips on what to do when your product costs are rising. Okay, so in today's atmosphere, very important. But first, support for today's show has been brought to you by my book, which disappeared, the 90-Day Profit Reset, which is brought to you by Profit Maximizing Publishing, which shows you how to gain your independence from reduced cash flow, shrinking margins, and evaporating customer base. In this book, you'll find chapter after chapter, idea after idea, about how you can turn around your business and rethink your profits from red to black in 90 days or fewer. I think the Kindle version is still something like $4.99. This is one of those that you should use every year, though. I designed it that way to be used every year as kind of okay, hey, are we still doing things right? So paperback is probably not a bad idea, but hey, your choice. Um, okay, many times, and especially in the last year or two, especially in the last year, and last year 21 and last year 22 and this year, I'm reviewing people's books and I'm discovering they've increased their sales but had a higher cost of goods sold percentage, which of course results in a lower profit. So in other words, they sold more, made less. Yeah, you got a job. That's like you worked harder and got a pay cut. Doesn't make sense, does it? First and the most obvious thing to look at is your product prices that for the things you sell. All right, we're talking mainly here for people that sell a physical product. If you're selling a service, well, just keep an eye on your payroll, and that's a different discussion. Okay, look at your product prices. Have they increased dramatically from the prior year? This is often the cause of increased cost of goods sold percentage. Okay, here's some steps that I would consider if you see increases in product costs and that turns out to be your problem. Excuse me. First, get bids from suppliers. Then call your current vendors and tell them you're shopping around and push for a price reduction. You'd be surprised how often that works. It's much harder. Remember, we talked marketing. It's much harder to get a new customer than it is to keep one you had. All right. Look into price breaks for large orders and other special pricing your vendors may offer. I've had a couple, close to half a dozen clients when I talked to them about 18 months ago, the end of 21, beginning of 22. I said I saw inflation coming. And I can think of at least a half a dozen of my clients who did large orders. And in some case, because of supply line fiasco last year, we're not going to get into that. We're not going to point fingers and blame. We'll let you do that. Anyways, they were sometimes the only person that had a product. If somebody needed it, nobody else had it because they had ordered, but they did because they ordered a large quantity earlier. So it's two things: one, you get the sale; two, you're getting a lower price. Consider passing the price increase on to the customer. Plan this carefully if your main selling point is having a lower price. Otherwise, you might be surprised at how much elasticity you may have on your pricing. I said that wrong. You'd be surprised how often you can raise prices and not get a kickback. All right. It's surprising to me even still. All right. The problem is often a change in the products you're selling. To discover if this is the case, look at your product cost by product, not just the total. Get your accountant to pull all your products on a spreadsheet similar to the ones I reviewed. I've done before. It says in an attached video, but I was doing a video at the time. So what I mean by that is you're going to have a spreadsheet that says part 1003 cost me right now this much, cost me 6 months ago this much, cost me this much a year ago, cost me this much 2 years ago. Well, you don't have that, do that much, but that's optimum. And the idea is to highlight and sort the ones that have the biggest percentage increase. There can be a huge difference where the units sold and the total sales dollars are the same. I'm literally, the total is exactly the same, but because the product mix is different, I can have huge differences. If I sell one item, if 80% of my sales were in an item where I had a 60% profit margin, but the next quarter that dropped, and that's my highest profit margin, but that the next quarter, that instead of being 60% is 40% of my sales. What we're seeing is a change in the buyer's pattern. And why did that happen? What's going on? Was a competitor out there or put it on sale? Was there a new innovation that was put out that's better? Did your marketing just drop the ball? I mean, it's really that simple. All right. Um, I have seen, I can often, it's just a price increase where I have the same sale, but instead of making, for example, $4,800 on a on a particular product, I'm only making $3,400, and that's based on the same sales amount count. So how do you reduce this? Well, the quickest thing is use the old 80-20 rule. I mean, if you don't have a lot of products, go ahead and do them all. But most people that are selling things have a lot of products. So you're going to look at the 80-20 rule, where you're going to look at the 20% of your items that account for 80% of your sales. And truthfully, you should have a key KPI. We talked about that last week or the week before. They're all running together. It's tax season. Key performance indicator that keeps track of your top 20%, top 10%. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Your top 10% of your items account for 95% of your sales. The other stuff you just kind of expected to have. All right. So anyways, you might want to look at that. Always monitor your product line, so you're keeping an eye on that. And I would consider putting a KPI together that I'm getting reports from your purchasing people telling you the prices of your major items, at least shortly after the close of each year. And I would do it much more frequently than this, but you'd be amazed. Very few people do this. But periodically look at the units sold, the sales dollars per product, the cost of goods sold per product, and the gross profit per product. So I want to know those four things for each one of my product lines. Okay, everything I sell. How many did I sell? What was the total sales dollars? What was the total cost of goods sold? And what was my gross product for that product line? All right. And more importantly, start to be able to compare it. And like I said, break that down to your most important product lines, the ones that sell the most, using the 80-20 rule. Sort these from best sellers to worst. And then what I would do, once you get this on an Excel spreadsheet, sort it, like I said, and red flag and evaluate the lowest 20% on each list before deciding to drop the item from your list, from your line. Ask some questions. Why is this product performing so poorly? Is it priced too high? Is it priced too low? Or its sales cannibalized by some competitive item in our line? That happens. It looks bad, but you actually came out with a newer product that cannibalized it. Remember, good financial statements ask questions and force you to dig deeper. This is where you're digging deeper. Could we have sold more if we had promoted it differently? Is the item in the decline stage of its product life cycle? Could be. Can we redesign the product to make it more saleable? Can we combine it with something else? All right. In other words, if this is a product acquired as an add-on to a high profit item, can we combine it and raise the price a little bit? Okay. Is there an untapped market for this product that we didn't look at? Okay. You know, kind of sad. What was it, Viagra? I mean, I think it was a heart medication, if I remember right, when it was first put out. I guarantee you more of them are sold for something else, aren't they? Anyways, after due deliberation, looking at your list, start building a list of items that you can drop from your product line. Now, do the same thing on your top 20%. Don't just look at the things that aren't working. Look at the things that are working, see if you can improve them. All right. Finally, I just said that. Finally, concentrate on promoting your most profitable products. I've worked with several companies that have done the hard work outlined in this article, and truthfully, without fail, and I said article because I originally wrote this as a blog article, but without fail, they've experienced a dramatic increase in profits when they concentrate on their products and dig in and get the detail that I'm talking about. And seriously, I'd create a KPI for this. Anyways, until next time, this is Wayne Blisle saying, let's make this our most profitable year ever. And God bless. Have a great week. Thank you very much.